Hello everyone, I'm Adele, and welcome back to the FIFA World Cup Simulator project, where we're building a complete tournament engine in Power Query, one query at a time. Today we're building query number 5, head-to-head match. In the previous query, we identified every group of teams that finished level on points, but simply knowing which teams are tied isn't enough. FIFA doesn't compare every match those teams played. Instead, it looks only at the matches played between the tied teams themselves. This means we now need to isolate a much smaller collection of matches. Those matches will become the foundation of every head-to-head calculation that follows. Before we look at the code, let's first understand the idea. Imagine 3 teams finish the group stage with exactly the same number of points. Those teams may have played 9 matches altogether against different opponents. However, FIFA is interested in only a few of those matches. It ignores every match played against teams outside the tie. In other words, we're creating a miniature tournament inside the original tournament. Only the tied teams are invited. Everything else is ignored. The query begins with 2 tables. The first contains every team performance created earlier in the project. The second contains every tied group identified in query number 4. For each tied group, we read the list of team IDs. That list becomes our filter. Only matches where both the team and the opponent belong to the same tied group are selected. Everything else is ignored. One important design decision is that we keep both sides of every match. At first glance, this may seem like duplicate information, but it isn't. Every row still represents one team's own performance. Mexico's record tells Mexico's story. South Africa's record tells South Africa's story. Keeping both perspectives allows every later calculation to remain simple and completely consistent with the rest of the project. After selecting the correct matches, we expand the match details into a normal table. We include the match information, goals scored, goals conceded, wins, draws, losses, points earned, and whether the team played at home or away. We also rename the points column to head-to-head points. That small change makes it immediately clear that these points belong only to the mini-tournament between the tied teams, not to the overall group stage standings. Finally, we sort everything into a consistent order so the following queries always receive clean and predictable data. Now that we understand the business idea, let's see how Power Query implements it. We start by reading the tied groups from query number 4 and the complete team performance table from query number 2. For each tied group, we retrieve the list of participating teams. Using that list, we filter the team performance table and keep only rows where both team ID and opponent ID belong to the same tie. This gives us exactly the matches required for FIFA's head-to-head comparison. We then expand the nested tables, rename the points column to head-to-head points, apply the appropriate data types, and sort the final result. The outcome is a clean dataset containing only the matches that matter for resolving each tie. Now that we've isolated the correct matches, the next step is to calculate the statistics inside each head-to-head group. In query number 6, head-to-head statistics, we'll summarize those matches into new standings based only on the tied teams. That's the first major step toward resolving the tie exactly as FIFA does.